Hey, welcome to your Sagittarius horoscopes for the week of Christmas, the last week of December, the last week of 2023, and it's all happening in Sagittarius this week. Maybe not all of it, but a whole lot because we are officially full on into the Sagittarius part of our Mercury retrograde. It moved into Sagittarius very, very, very late last week. So it's officially in Sagittarius all of this week and a few more days after this week before it's officially done. It's actually officially done on the 2nd. So basically just a few more days next week and then we're pretty much over with it. There is that week-long shadow period thing, of course, that always happens. We still have Mars in Sagittarius as well. We also have Venus moving into Sagittarius at the end of this week. So the sun may not be in Sagittarius anymore, but the party is definitely still going on in Sagittarius. And of course, I mean, you guys know how to party. So, it just makes perfect sense, right? Let's talk a little bit about Venus coming in to Sagittarius at the very end of the week. Venus is bringing focus on finances into the mix right there at the beginning of the week, coming in a grand sextile with Pluto and Neptune as she comes into your sign. Um, in some cases, this is good news financially, but of course, it all depends on what you're willing to put into it. Pluto's influence on your career in terms of your career goals definitely helps with that good financial news. While Neptune is reminding you that the old stuff that's holding you back just shouldn't be holding you back anymore. And this is really helpful through Venus's square with Saturn. Venus's square with Saturn also focused on inner trauma and triggers. Saturn is all about responsibility, reminding you of your responsibility to clean up your own mess, not a message that Sagittarius wants to hear like ever. Okay. Sagittarius is not the planet of or the sign of responsibility. It is the sign of, it's not that they're irresponsible. It's just, why focus on being responsible when you could have fun instead? So it's not, it is in many ways, it is a struggle for some Sagittarians to just do the right thing. It's like in your innermost heart of hearts, you know what you need to do, but then that whole element of being told what to do, it just gets in your way, right? And you just fight against being told how you're supposed to be, even if you know that that's what you're supposed to do. It doesn't make any sense. But then again, when did humans make sense? The answer is never. They never made any sense. Let's look at Saturn and Mercury, which are pretty much in conjunction this week. They kind of move into a much wider conjunction by the end of the week, but they're in a pretty close conjunction at the beginning of the week. Both planets in a square with Neptune. Neptune was helpful a minute ago, but now not so much, unfortunately. And Mars and Mercury are focused on long-term goals. So here's a couple of things with that. First of all, in terms of that square with Neptune, and Mars is in a sextile with, actually, that's not Mars. I think I'm lying. Yeah, totally lying. Never mind. Scratch that. Scratch that last part. Um, what's interesting here is Sagittarians are not known to be goal-oriented people. And I feel like what tends to happen with a lot of Sagittarians is when they sit down to come up with a plan, a goal plan, there's that element of being easily distracted. That's a thing. It is a thing. So that's one thing that kind of can get in the way every now and then. The other thing is that you can't outrun your trauma. And so in many cases, what gets in the way of most people procrastinating on setting their goals, and procrastination is a trauma response. And so, if you don't understand where that trauma response is coming from, you're constantly in this loop of trying to overcome something that you don't know what you're overcoming, if that makes sense. So, understanding where that trauma response is coming from is really, really helpful, because until you understand it, accept it, put it to bed, release its control over you, it makes it very difficult to focus on what you want to achieve in life. And without goals, it's very difficult to see progress. Unfortunately, you do see progress, but you could see more progress if you were a little bit more structured, if that makes sense. Not that Sagittarius really likes the word structure either. Sagittarians are free spirits. I mean, hippies to the max. And I have met a couple of very structured Sagittarians. I'm not saying that they don't exist, but for the most part, Sagittarius is not a sign that goes out of their way to find structure. They like to keep their options open, so to speak. That's fine. You can set your goals up to keep your options open. But you can't have your cake and eat it too. And I think that's really what tends to be the hang up there. So I feel like this week, what's really important here is I tend to look at goal setting as not just what I want to achieve coming up in the next year, but what I want to leave in this year. And bad habits are a big one of those things. Knowing that this is something that is constantly holding you back is definitely something you want to consider leaving behind in 2023, so that you can leave yourself free to be able to focus on what you want to create in 2024. It's really important. Is the Mercury retrograde a problem? Not necessarily. It doesn't have to be. In fact, I have looked, we're at Sagittarius now. I've looked at these horoscopes so far for a couple of hours now, and I have to say that as scary as I thought this Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius was going to be, I'm not seeing anything too terribly scary about it. Yes, it does have a tendency to cause more aggressive behavior, more volatile communication, different things like that. In some cases, I feel for you guys, it's going to be the angry outburst that has been coming for a long time, but this is not an angry outburst at everybody else. It's towards yourself. It's saying, okay, that's it. Enough is enough. I'm getting over my BS and I'm doing it. No more excuses, and putting that excuse bag away. And sometimes you have to get to the point where you've just had enough and can't even deal with your own self anymore before you finally get to a point where you're like, that's it. I'm eliminating this. So understand your trauma response, your procrastination, where that comes from, because it's really important to where you want to go. So that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, do consider sending a tip or donation through my coffee link, which is there in the description. I do really appreciate that. Tremendously grateful for all the support I've been getting from you guys. You guys are just awesome. I love you to pieces. Thank you so much. Also in the description of this video is the link to the booking page on my website for one more week. This is it, just this week, and that's it. I am still giving that 25% discount for an hour-long reading, and the promo code is there, right there by the link. Take note of the promo code, click the link, fill out the information, put the promo code in there. You get your 25% off. It's really easy peasy. So don't miss out on that. I'm Melissa Bruce, Heavy Metal Psychic. I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, you guys, you don't have to dim your light. You don't have to dim your fire to come up with a plan. It's all there is to it. In fact, your fire makes that plan 10 times better than any other plan. You just have to, yes, that's it. And I know that you're going to do a great job because I have seen focused Sagittarians, and man, I tell you what, they put everybody to shame. That could be you if it's not you yet. So you guys make it a great week, and I will see you next week.